Hello, I'm Derek. Welcome to Language into Boca, a new project I'm doing for D-Licious Media. So I've given myself a 3-year goal to learn Spanish, Sanskrit, and Biblical Greek. I figure that Spanish being the most spoken language in the hemisphere I live in, it should be, something that we know. Sanskrit, I want to be able to read ancient texts like the Vedas in the original language. And Biblical Greek, I want to be able to read the New Testament in the language it was originally written in. But Sanskrit. So I've done a lot of yoga in my life. So I've heard Sanskrit spoken, and I've used Sanskrit mantras and things for like meditation. So I've heard it spoken and used a few words here and there, but very, very few. I definitely not something that I'd say I know. I can say a few things like, of course, the greeting everyone knows if you've done any yoga, namaste, which I believe means let the light in me shine to the light in you. That's the greeting, namaste, Sanskrit. But this is the book I'm going to be using to learn Sanskrit. It's Sanskrit for Beginners, a new approach. So I cracked the book today. And the first thing I learned is this is going to be difficult because it starts out with the alphabet, and to me it just looks like lines and squiggles. It's gonna be challenging. So the first thing I learned today is I'm gonna have to review the alphabet regularly as I go through the book. But I just want to read the first couple paragraphs of the book, Why Learn Sanskrit. In the present age of globalization, to learn different languages is a boon, as it enhances the career prospects and gives the knowledge of other cultures. There are a few languages which have global utility, like English, French, Chinese, Spanish, and Arabic, etc., but Sanskrit is totally different from this group. According to the Oxford Dictionary, Sanskrit is the language of learned people in India. It is true that this is a native Indian language, but this language has been given the status of the most suitable language for computers. In the view of scientists and researchers, this is the language of the future. It is said that Sanskrit is the mother of many Indian and European languages. This language is not just a language of communication, but also a language that leads to spiritualism. Researchers have recently proclaimed that just by pronouncing this beautiful language, one can get rid of one's illnesses. So, like using mantras and stuff that's in chants during meditation, it's supposed to do healthy things for your body, and it's almost like a musical language. That is why it is called the language of God. And it's called the language, I've heard it, language of the gods, and using like the ancient Hindu texts and things like that. Its grammar and pronunciation are based on scientific patterns. So I am sure by learning this special language, one's life will be transformed completely. So yeah, I've done a lot of yoga, a lot of meditation. I want to understand that better in the original language and be able to read ancient texts. So yeah, the alphabet, to me, it looks like a bunch of squiggly lines. I watched a video about pronunciations, and I'm going to post that in the show notes. And so you can follow along. But that's where I'm going to start, just working through this alphabet. And then I'm going to move on to chapter 1 next week in the second installment of Language into Boca, Sanskrit. So that's it for today. Kind of a short one. Maybe these will get longer as I dive more into it. But make sure you're subscribed to the D-Licious Media YouTube channel to follow along and to follow other D-Licious Media content. That's at D-Licious 2763 on YouTube. You can also find D-Licious Media, D-Licious on Facebook, and D-Licious Media on Instagram. That's all for now. Namaste.